Let's be real. Toxic relationships are designed to be confusing. They're exhausting. But here's the thing. Once you learn to see the patterns, you can never, ever unsee them. So in this explainer, we're going to break down 5 really clear signs that show you what's actually going on behind the curtain.
Wow, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that dizzying, disorienting cycle. One minute, you're on top of the world, feeling so special and seen. And the next, you're in a total freefall. But right before you hit the ground, they swoop in and rescue you, and the relief is so intense you almost forget they were the one who pushed you in the first place. This cycle, that's the engine that powers the whole dynamic. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with how communication just completely falls apart. Then we'll get into the invisible rules of the relationship, that emotional roller coaster, what happens to you on the inside, and finally, how you get to a place of clarity.
Okay, first up, the communication breakdown. Honestly, this is often the very first red flag people notice, even if they can't quite put a name to it. It's that sinking feeling that you just can't have a simple, direct conversation anymore. Every single talk becomes a maze, full of confusion and misdirection.
Think about it for a second. Have you ever been there? You ask a totally straightforward question and suddenly you're on a conversational detour to a completely different topic? This isn't just someone being a bad communicator. A lot of the time, it's a very deliberate tactic.
And here's a perfect example of how that works. You ask a simple question. Did you stay out late? A direct answer would be yes. Simple. But look at the deflection on the right. It immediately flips the script. All of a sudden, you're the bad guy for even asking. You're made to feel guilty, demanding, ungrateful, while they get to be the poor, hardworking martyr. And you know what? The original question never, ever gets answered. You know, this brings up something called the bird test. And it's not really about birds. It's about all those tiny moments, those little bids for connection we make all day, like saying, hey, look at that cool car, or listen to this song for a sec. When those little moments are constantly ignored, or even worse, mocked, it shows a deep lack of connection. The real health of a relationship is found in how you handle these superordinary, everyday interactions.
All right, on to our second sign, the unspoken deal. This is a huge one. Toxic relationships run on a secret contract that you never agreed to, you never even saw, but you are absolutely expected to honor 24/7.
And this is the heart of it, especially in toxic family systems. You owe us. It's this deep, heavy feeling of obligation. It makes you feel like you're not a person in a relationship, but more like a resource that's there to pay back a debt that somehow never gets smaller. And the whole contract is completely one-sided.
So what are the terms of the secret deal? Well, you're supposed to be a mind reader. Your needs, they always come second. You're not allowed to outshine them. And, get this, you are somehow responsible for managing their emotions. It's just constant, exhausting work. It's like owning an old, crumbling house. There's always another pipe to fix, another window to patch. You never, ever get a day off. Okay, next up is the one we've all heard of, the emotional roller coaster. That wild, exhausting ride between incredible highs and absolutely devastating lows. And it's this cycle that keeps people hooked, always chasing that amazing feeling they had at the very beginning.
The sources actually break this cycle down into 4 predictable seasons. First, there's delight and joy. Then comes season 2, devaluation and confusion. This is when you start feeling like you might be going crazy. But then comes the turning point, season 3, seeing it. You start finding information, maybe like this, that explains the pattern. The fog starts to lift. And that leads to the final season, not being able to unsee it. At this point, you see the good moments for what they really are. Not signs of change, but just part of the manipulation.
Now for our 4th sign, and this one is so important, we're calling it your internal compass. Because this isn't about their behavior anymore, it's about the deep, profound changes that happen inside of you. And I mean it, just pause for a second and ask yourself this. So many people who get out of these relationships say they feel like they completely lost the person they used to be. It's like the relationship slowly chipped away at your sense of self until you barely recognize the person in the mirror.
This slide really shows that stark contrast. Maybe you went into the relationship feeling confident, assertive, trusting. But over time, the dynamic just transforms you. You find yourself constantly second-guessing every little thing. You become more isolated, and you're hyper-vigilant, always on alert, scanning for the next potential conflict. It's such a slow and sneaky change.
And it's absolutely crucial to understand that the people-pleasing you see here is often a deep-seated trauma response. It's called the fawn response. It's not a character flaw, it's not manipulation, it's a survival instinct. It's your nervous system unconsciously trying to keep you safe by appeasing a threat.
And all of this leads us to our final and maybe most powerful section, seeing it clearly. This is that light bulb moment when the fog finally lifts, and you start moving from the chaos of confusion into the solid ground of clarity.
A key tool here is something called radical acceptance. And let's be super clear, this has nothing to do with forgiveness or saying what happened was okay. It's not. Radical acceptance is a survival strategy for you. It's about looking at the reality of the situation, at all the patterns, and saying, this is what it is, I cannot change them. And in that moment of acceptance, you stop wasting your precious energy and you start to take your power back.
And this is the reframe that can change everything. You might feel broken or damaged by the experience, but you're not. You've gained hard-won wisdom. You basically have a PhD in pattern recognition now. You understand that trust isn't something you just give away for free. It has to be earned. That isn't damage. That's strength. So, we'll end with this question for you. Now that you can see the patterns, now that you have this roadmap, the power dynamic shifts. It's no longer just about what's happening to you. It's about the choices that you can now make for you. So, what will you do with this knowledge?